I know this is a little bit different than regular astrology. Are you hanging with it? Okay. So in this particular chart, this is a new moon at 14 degrees of Aries. Let me get out. Carmen and I did anybody hear that radio thing that went on today? Great. So I'm going to read you from, it's a self-published book, I guess. Took a long time to put together, but I want to read you the degree. And this is not the Sabian symbol degree. This is my Earth Mysteries degree for 14 degrees of Aries. It goes like this. Tidal waves wash over the earth. Horus hangs on the horizon at dusk. Osiris is a memory of our oneness, floating on the Nile. Another Osiris carries his heart from gateway to gateway. Moses, sends the hand of Hashem, the hand of the Creator, over the sea of dreams. Whether we find the Aleph, the oneness, the unity principle, on Aretz Adamah, on the earth, or Alpha Andromeda, one of us must take the first step, like Nachashon, who was the first person to step into the Red Sea when the Hebrew people were crossing it, at Yam Suf, the Red Sea. So that says so much, because it says that we're up against another kind of Exodus experience where we have to leave a place at that time of slavery. Slavery to black magic in Egypt, slavery to a building program that got a little bit out of hand in Egypt, slavery to a caste society that had a few people at the top controlling the destiny of many people below. Okay. I've got nothing against Egypt. I think Egypt's a beautiful place, and I've gone there 10 times, and there's a lot stored there, and the Egyptian people are extraordinarily living in their heart. And any time I've been to Egypt for 2 to 3 weeks, I've come back and felt that I'm not really living in America or Canada, because I'm not living day to day at the heart chakra level. So what just happened in Egypt was a miracle. It was a miracle that that society was able to overthrow Mubarak and all of that vested interest money around Mubarak. And it was astrologically predictable. I didn't see it until it was almost a done deal, but Egypt has a 29-degree Pisces moon. Uranus, the planet of transformation, went over their moon, and their whole collective society said, we can't take this anymore, we need change. So they changed their regime from within, with a little help from, a Google, Facebook guy who helped organize it, who was somewhat of a hero in Egypt. But in terms of civilization, Sumeria was a great place, and then Sumeria went down. Egypt was a great place, and Egypt went down. And what was left out of the 10,000 years of the Osiris Mystery School tradition got picked up by Christianity. So that line, another Osiris carries his heart from gateway to gateway, is basically saying that the 12 segments or pieces of Osiris that were the dismemberment of Osiris by his brother Set got reconfigured in the New Testament as the 12 stations of the cross of Christ. And there's this tremendous Egyptian mystical tradition buried in Christianity, and it's probably only the Coptic people in Egypt that actually understand that, because they are the true original Christians. I'm very interested in what's going on. And if you remember, Egypt, the whole thing in Egypt began with a bombing at a Coptic monastery or a Coptic church in Alexandria. That's where it started. And then it switched to Cairo, and there was a ring of Egyptian people, Muslim, Christian, around a Coptic church, so that wouldn't happen again. And then out of that, they managed to overthrow a government. So what happened in Egypt is very, very positive. I'm praying that the same thing will happen in Iran and a number of dictatorships. But another possibility, of course, with a Mars-Uranus conjunction is an assassination, an overthrowing, maybe that's the day Gaddafi will go down, who knows. But it's going to happen so quickly that we need kind of an overview of the great planetary theater as Neptune goes into Pisces. I don't mean to scare anybody, but maybe I got a little overly dramatic, but here's the degree for Neptune entering Pisces. It would be the 330th degree or 331st degree of the zodiac. Goes like this. Prepare now for the descent into Hades. Find a costume you can live with. Not too loose, not too tight. You spent 1,001 nights at Adama's Samba school. What can your heart desire? We give you food, lodging, and escort, someone you can borrow from occasionally, a place to exchange dollars to euros, yen to yuan, shekels to bakshish. We even offer you a barter card for tribulation time. You can dance in the dark with all the iridescent astral entities. What more do you want, amigo? So, it's a matter of there's this big interchange now between the iridescent astral entities, the ghosts of beings who haven't ascended but are hanging near the earth. And if you go to Brazil, they're there. They're spirits. And they want incarnation. They want to be back in the body. Lots of people want to get out of the body right now. The emotional suffering's a little high. Okay? Some delusional New Agers think they're going to ascend. It can happen. Ascension is a real process, but it's really a collective event, ascension. It's the raising of the vibratory frequency of our planet that is happening in our time. And I think I better just close it with that. I'll certainly be happy to do more on ascension. And let's take a few questions. You look pretty stunned out there. Sorry. I didn't mean to scare y'all. Yeah.
When you say Egypt has a 29-degree Pisces moon, does that mean its chart has that moon?
Yeah.
So how do you cast
the chart of the time that Egypt freed itself from being a British protectorate.
Okay, so
that's the problem with astrology. You have to figure out what chart to use in a situation.
Well, because Egypt's so old, right?
But we weren't working with ancient Egypt kingdom. I'm just looking at the present political Egypt. When Egypt loosened itself from, like Israel is real old. I have to look at the 1948 chart of Egypt or of Israel. So astrologers are always trying to, America's chart, there's like 3 of them. Ridger had one, and it's hard to tell. Looks like America's got Sag ascendant to me. Brilliant marketing of products,
Thanks.
Any other? Great silence is descended into Columbia.
Joseph, on the global warming issue, I could ask you this too, Michael. Is it true that all the planets are warming up, and that's maybe proof that the global warming theory that we're using?
I don't know how you want to talk about warming, but David Wilcock, before he became a YouTuber, wrote 3 books on science, which he put on the internet for anybody to look at, and I think they should still be there. And he was looking at Russian physics, and the Russians know a lot more about what's going on with the Earth grid and what's going on in our universe than our scientists in the Western world do. And they noticed that the outer planets had all flipped. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, it all had magnetic field and polar flips. So that is a kind of warming up. And also there's something happening at the top of Saturn too, where there's kind of a hexagonal array. And then, of course, do you remember when Jupiter got hit with the comet? Shoemaker-Levy broke into 21 pieces. I was in Sedona in that time. Drunvalo thought that maybe Jupiter was going to be the second sun in the sky, Hopi prophecy. it didn't happen that way, but Jupiter's our bodyguard. We'd be toast if it weren't for Jupiter. Jupiter's magnetic field is 400 times the Earth. Any marauding chunk of anything, from a comet, a flyby that comes into our solar system, Jupiter, as the great guru, absorbs that shock and protects little Earth with Earthlings on it, like that. So there's certain things that planetary bodies do, and we don't really see that much. And it's very likely that there's an ET group sitting on one of the moons of Jupiter at this very moment, probably Io. Well, that's the best I can do in an hour to give you a little appetizer segment from the great mystery. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll get to say one or two more things when we go.